Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. For today's interview, we have the lovely Shannon Snow joining us. She is the COO of World of Women. And yeah, Shannon, we're happy to have you on the show. Thanks for joining.
Such an honor to be here. And your intro music is a vibe. I love it.
Yeah, we saw you jamming out a little bit to it.
100%.
Yeah, it always kind of gets things started for us. We're like, all right, get in the zone. So we love to play that right before we record. But yeah, how are you doing today? We got a lot to talk about. Yesterday, you guys had a massive announcement with today's Thursday, October 12th. We'll put this out probably on the 15th. But yeah, you guys just announced the Monopoly board. We got a lot to jump into. But first, I do want to start out kind of hearing how you got into Web3 because I know you work for Meta and for Google and, just some really big tech companies. And what got you into NFTs?
Yeah. So I was coming out from a tech perspective. I came into Silicon Valley around 2004. So I feel like I've really literally seen the web evolve like through Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3, and through the lens of like Google, searching the web, like very Web 1, very, taking in information, and then moving over to Facebook when it moved from Facebook into Meta. Very much this idea of going from the social media era into whatever was next. And for Meta, it was very much into the metaverse, thinking about AR, VR, AI. And right around that same time that Facebook was making that transition into Meta, I had a pretty cool job. I was working with tons of the biggest entertainment companies in the world, figuring out how they could translate, be in Horizon Worlds, be in VR, and start to translate their experience. And I could sort of see the future in terms of what my life would be like working on that next iteration of the web as defined by big tech, very much defined by the devices, defined by, what we can do. But at the same time, I saw Web3 really coming out in terms of defined by the people and the culture. And I saw all of these NFT projects coming out, especially World of Women, which I was a holder of, where it was saying, hey, like in this next generation of technology, we want the people involved to have more ownership and more opportunities to earn. We want to have more opportunities to create community. And in the case of World of Women, we want to start out the next generation of technology holding the values that we hold dear of this should be available to everyone. This should be inclusive. This should be representative. And so when I got the opportunity to come to WOW, it was a real moment for me because I thought I know that tech will continue to change the world positively. It's why I've really enjoyed that for my career. But I think as we enter this era, I really wanted to stand for the values that I think are important and make sure that we're creating a tech that not just, feeds the progression of technology, but feeds the progression of our culture and how we want to view the world.
Love that. That's great. Yeah. Michael, did you ever mint WOW when it first came out?
I was right in there. I don't think I minted WOW. I remember minting a bunch of women and weapons and another one that was a woman one. WOW was first, right? Because Nikki and Casey, who I worked with, they were all on it. Like I think they had a bunch each. And for whatever reason, I missed that one and then got on like the next couple. But I didn't actually mint WOW. Thanks for calling me out, Jenny. Thanks for,
well, you know what? You collect so many NFTs.
I know. I had a little piece of almost everything at that point in time in 2021. So but I don't think
early.
Yeah, right. And I can't lie about it. Everybody can go look. Like I don't think I had a World of Women in my wallet ever. I can't say.
Wow. Well, maybe after this you'll get one.
But I did have a Galaxy for a little bit because our friend Gassan had to send me one to sign up for one of the parties one time.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the Gala. Which we got to talk about the Gala too. Yeah, I actually recently bought a Galaxy and I'm pretty happy with it. the WoW, I remember I minted a WoW, but I sold it the same day because I was like, I don't know. I was like in the flipping mode. And then it started skyrocketing and I was like priced out and I was like, oh, I'm never getting back in, like, because it's just too high now. But yeah, Gary Vee, I remember when the project really started taking off, he kind of took it under his wing and was like, guys, like this project, like this is the next big project. And everyone was like, why is Gary so interested in WoW? And there was a couple projects that he was like that for, but yeah, it was like he was just really into World of Women. And, even at the first VCon, there was a World of Women booth and, it all kind of ties in later. And
yeah, he's been a huge part of our story and we feel extremely grateful for his advocacy. When Yam, our co-founder and artist and, really the first woman artist to found her own collection. And the reason she did it was she wanted to get into the NFT space as a digital artist. She looked at what was out there, apes and other collections, and she realized she didn't feel like she could really buy anything because there was nothing that would really represent her. And so she ended up creating the collection and it was flagged to Gary, I think on social media as something that was minting out. And he got on board and advocated. And what's been really cool is Gary continues to be a champion for the project. He, created opportunities. We had VCon booth at, both of the VCons, as well as speaking opportunities for Yam and myself. He continues to be an advocate. Actually, the product that we're releasing now, WoW Monopoly, we actually see a VFriend that you can play as in the Monopoly board. And that VFriend was actually signed off personally by Gary to be included in the game. So he's been a champion from day one and continues to be of World of Women, which we're so grateful for.
That is amazing. I love that. Should we get into the Monopoly board? Because I definitely have a lot of questions about this Monopoly board. So first of all, the Monopoly WoW Galaxy Edition is coming out on October 17th. You can go to wowg.art for more information. But I was trying to figure out, what it'll be priced at and who will have access to buy it. I couldn't find that information. I was wondering if you had any more clarity around that.
Well, I'm happy to spill the alpha on the pod.
Oh, let's go.
Because we are trickling information out. We've been dripping out information on the wowg.art site. So if you go there, you can see an amazing animated teaser that we did, as well as some of the storyline of the game. But just for a little background in terms of why it was created, for World of Women, we obviously started as an NFT collection, but we kind of through Gary and advocacy of a lot of our high-profile holders, including Eva Longoria, Reese Witherspoon, Sofia Vergara, it kind of became a global movement just standing for inclusion. And as we expand into the next phase, we have two focuses. One is just scaling our brand in a new way through decentralized IP rights and collabs like we're doing with Monopoly. And then two, growing our community, which is really this lifestyle club at the forefront of art, tech, and culture, and making sure that those who hold a WoW continue to be at the cutting edge of all things that we love. So for World of Women, WoW Galaxy, Monopoly, this is something that we're really excited about because as we look to find collabs, there's a couple of things that we really look for. One is, is this something that is true to our values, which are all around community and equality? And then two, is it something that is going to expand our brand to new audiences? I think that we've seen a lot of amazing IP created in the Web3 ecosystem, but our next phase is really breaking out and seeing how we can get some of this amazing IP out there to new audiences that might love the art of World of Women and the message, but don't know how to buy an NFT yet, or don't really understand, what it's all about. So when Hasbro came to us with this opportunity, it was really exciting because I think we've all had that experience where you go home for the holidays and literally no family member understands what you do for a living. This has been my experience since starting at Google in my early career. Like no one understood, what you do all day. And we could really see, families kind of huddling around the family table, playing Monopoly and, getting exposure to the art of World of Women, to some of these concepts, you play with ETH in the game instead of dollars. So you get introduced to digital currency, as well as the game is reimagined so that you are zipping around the WoW galaxy rather than just, piling up houses and hotels. So we're really excited to get introduced this way. To your questions around, how do you get access? What's the pricing? So everyone will be able to purchase the board at wowg.art. It goes on sale on October 17th, but we will have special perks for holders of WoW. We have a new community hub called Patio, which is sort of where WoW community members go and vibe in the digital world. So those that hold can go to patio.wow.art to get some special access, I'll say, to the board and special perks.
That's cool. I really like the branding of it, how you did. Playing with ETH is brilliant. That's so fun. And you mentioned Gary V signing off on the V Friends. How did it work with like the Bored Ape, CryptoPunks, CloneX? Did you guys went to them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, we own all of the NFTs.
Oh, sure. You have the IP and you can use it.
We're leveraging the IP rights. So, we have the ape, we have the CloneX, we have the cool cat. So we actually are leveraging the IP rights, which is cool because that's what we want people to do with WoW as well. And BeFriends was the only one that didn't have that type of agreement, which is why we had to get the sign off. But we did seek input from the communities that are represented. We held an early preview with some of the representatives of the communities. We had Noah, who at the time was in charge of Punks. We had Josh Ong, who's on the community committee at Apes, and some other key members, Jeremy from VFriends, give some feedback on the tokens, how they were looking in 3D form, because a lot of times you're used to seeing these things in 2D and now they're in a 3D. So we had some good conversations about, is this how it would actually look, and made some adjustments based on that, because we want this to be a win for all of Web3. I think that, it's so fun to be able to play with some of these pieces. And I think all of us have pieces that we used to play with in the original Monopoly game. So we thought it was quite fun to be able to include other communities and make this just a win for the entire industry.
Yeah, Monopoly is one of those games that literally has been around forever. And I think everybody has played it at least once. I know I've played it dozens of times. It's a family favorite for sure. Yep. My sister always steals the money bag, so I always have to be like the iron or something. But yeah,
the race car is the best one. I mean, are you kidding?
It? What?
Of
I don't know.
course it is.
My sister really hyped up that money bag, so I feel like the money bag is the best one. She always made it seem like that was the one that like everybody wanted to have.
Oh yeah, well, she's wrong, but that's fine.
Wrong.
I mean, Steph's amazing, but
I'll let her know. I'll let her know she's wrong.
Not in this case.
I know we're already starting to have conversations within our community. I know the viewers can't see this, but I'm holding up tokens on our Zoom.
Oh, those are incredible. That's gonna be so much fun. I love that.
We're already talking about, who are you going to choose? What's going to be your first pick? And some of our community members are like, oh, I'm definitely buying this. I'm buying one for a collector's piece. I'm buying another one to play with my daughters. But they full on admitted that I'm never going to have first choice of tokens. I'm always going to let my daughters choose first. So I'm not going to be too picky about who I play with.
That's a good Christmas gift too, like to get people that, especially if someone's into NFTs. Ooh, that's a good one. Because yeah, I love that we did mention this, the tokens are different NFTs from different collections. I love that you guys are kind of lifting, like the tide lifts all boats. Like you guys are kind of shining light on some other collections, which is really great. And I was also kind of curious why those specific collections, like what made you guys pick, the cool cat, was it the CloneX, the VFriends, Bored Ape, CryptoPunks?
Yeah, so it was a combination of ones that had the IP rights that would allow us to do it, as well as ones that we already had either in personal collection of the founders or in the WoW Fund that owns NFTs across collections. And so, yeah, we'd love being able to include them in that way. Because really, I love seeing the different types of IP usage and strategies that are going out across the industry. Like I think Pudgy Penguins is doing a phenomenal job of doing excellent physical goods, scaling out. Right now, all the big talk is seeing, their amazing toys in Walmart. And one of the things that we've been talking a lot about internally is, different pricing strategies. So for us, for this Monopoly board, it is a semi-luxury item. Like it's a wood cabinet board. It's meant to be an heirloom piece. It's 18 pounds with absolute art. It's so massive, and you can basically hang it on your wall. The art is super gorgeous. And we are pricing it at $249, which if you're a board head and you get really into board games, there is very much a market for this. But if you're expecting a 2D Monopoly board, it seems expensive. And I think for us, we have always been a premium blue chip collection. I think that we work with a lot of luxury brands, including Moët Hennessy. And so we wanted to create something that was accessible and family friendly for the family, but also elevated and do something that was really special. And I love that we're seeing in the market that those things can coexist in NFTs. Like we can have really high quality products that bring someone in, and we can have really amazing products that are a higher price point that people really want to use as an heirloom piece. So we're really proud of it to bring something that's high quality to the market.
I love that. You don't have to justify that price. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. It's real nice. There's all kinds of real cool stuff there. Is it going into stores as well, or just online?
Just online. It's a limited edition. Once we sell out, they're going to be gone. So we wanted to release it before the holidays so that, those that order now will for sure get it before the holidays. Because, we could picture ourselves playing with our families in the holidays, and we want everyone else to be able to too.
Yeah. Are you saying how many there are going to be?
We are not saying, but I would just say, but buy early.
Gotcha.
Snap. How long was this in the works before it kind of came to fruition?
It was in the works for a year and a half. And we announced the partnership early because we were so excited. And to your point that so many people have played Monopoly. This was major for us. Actually, some of the stats, they estimate that over 1 billion people worldwide have played Monopoly. It's got massive reach. And so this was something that once the deal was inked, we announced really early. But the process for creating it has been a really intense one. Yam, who is our founder and chief creative officer, she was the creative director for the project. And she imagined how the board would be because there were several interesting elements. One was just building out the art for the board. It features some really unique champions from the WoW Galaxy collections that are one of one. There's all new art that envisions the places in the WoW Galaxy that had never been seen before. And Yam really used this board as a way to showcase the lore that is really inside of her head in terms of how you travel the galaxy. The setup of the game is that you're traveling the galaxy and you're powering your spaceship with ETH. And so this was a way to really build out those visual as well as lore elements. And there was just the mechanics of the game, because originally, we had to make some choices in terms of how meta was this game going to be. There was definitely some concepts talked about of, maybe there's competing collections on the board and you're an NFT collector and you want to collect different ones. And ultimately, we decided to go with something that was a little bit more immersive into just getting into the World of Women Galaxy, which I think is fun because it is more bringing people in who aren't in the NFT space, but introducing them to some of the characters. So between that and working through the quality, how do we get this maple board to be wow purple, the crafting of the pieces and making sure they're translating, a 2D ape into a 3D rendering that feels really authentic to those communities. It took a long time to really make something that was perfect and that we're proud of.
Nice.
That's cool. That is a beautiful project. Beautiful whole thing. It's really nice. And so a funny fact about Monopoly, it was founded in 1935. Jenny said forever, but it's kind of 1935, the middle of the Great Depression. Oh. Yeah, I was born in 37, Jenny. Please don't make me older than I really am.
Are you pre-boomer? I think you're something before a boomer then. I have
yeah. Okay, boomer. I get that a lot.
Okay, boomer. Okay,
in this
boomer.
space. So that was founded in the middle of the Great Depression. We're now in a crypto bear market, and you guys are releasing a kind of crypto ETH Monopoly. It's kind of a good marketing tactic. The bear market, the original Monopoly,
the
Great Depression. You can use that. If I see that come out in your marketing, I will not say a word.
Thank you.
You
I
can
take
use
as
it.
a gift. I'm
Yeah.
gonna run with it.
Isn't it a
but
good one?
It's
It's a-
interesting.
Yeah, because that was because that, like, you know, it was called Monopoly. People at that time were experiencing all these crazy monopolies that were taking over all the industries, and that's kind of why that game came out in the middle of the Great Depression. And we're in a big, huge bear market, and you're doing all kinds of crypto stuff. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is really cool because I feel like everyone has their own angle on it because we all have such a closeness with Monopoly, you know, so I'd love that. I feel like I'm definitely going to use that in the marketing. So thank you. I think like one of the connection points for me too is, you know, on like a personal level, I mean, I learned about money from Monopoly. And so, you know, I really envision this world where, you know, for some people, they're going to learn about digital money. They're going to learn about ETH through this Monopoly game. And I think it's very on point for WoW's ethos in the sense that we want to onboard women. We want to make a space for, you know, diverse people to get into Web3, but it has to be fun. It has to be a vibe. And so, you know, doing it through playing and having a whole gamified opportunity just felt very on brand for us.
Yeah, you're right about that, learning about money. I play the game of life with my kids. They're 7, 6, and 6. And that's pretty much on the same level. Like I would absolutely get that. And especially World of Women. My girls would love it. That's really cool.
How's the family doing at the game of life? Are you seeing any early indicators of their life choices through the game?
Yeah, my son is like, just keep moving, not adding anything else to the car. He's like, and one of my daughter Ivy's like, okay, I have a pet and I have a friend and I have 3 kids, and so for sure.
I love it.
I am saying, yeah, good point. Oh, is it going to be sold in ETH at all or just fiat?
Yeah, you can buy it in both.
Ooh, so you should say like 0.15. People aren't going to be as shocked by the price.
Yeah,
right. It's 0.15. Are you kidding? People will mint silly donkeys for that price, and might as well buy a piece like that.
That is true. Also, you kind of mentioned earlier about World of Women. It's like, you know, it's kind of catered to women, and one of the things I was gonna bring up, which we did briefly mention, but the WoW Gala in Miami, that I loved so much because it felt like girls love to dress up. Like we just love dressing up, wearing the long gowns, like, you know, and all the DGen parties, it's like you can just wear whatever you want, t-shirt, jeans. But I loved that it was like this whole moment where everybody just got to, like, you know, dress to the nines, look their best. And, you know, a whole gala, you had an award show. Roz was there emceeing. Even the drinks were like glittery and purple, and it just felt very fun. And yeah, I don't know. I remember I just really loved that party, and I vlogged it too. I have a video somewhere on Twitter. I don't know where, but
love it. Well, we loved it too. I mean, I think we really wanted to show up at Art Basel because, you know, with Art Basel always being about art, but then now coming in and being so big on the tech element, you know, we just thought that it was very right in terms of, you know, wanting to create this community of people at the forefront for art, tech, and culture. So we loved being able to throw it there. And the gala is something that we're doing every year. So we haven't yet announced the location and date for the next gala. But I agree. I think what really makes it special is that it's a community effort. We had community members making mood boards for how you wanted to show up and what you wanted to wear. We had high profile community members like Roz, who has been an incredible, you know, member of the community, you know, MC the event. So we are definitely going to be throwing down for the gala. So look for an announcement on this in the next couple of weeks in terms of where it's going to be this year.
Let's go. Yeah, I am excited. Hopefully I can go to Art Basel this year in Miami, but yeah, I'm hoping you guys throw another event in Miami there. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, and we'll definitely have to keep you guys posted, the listeners posted, if they announce, you know, any type of party. But okay, I had another question that's somewhat random, but do you remember the Other Side, the Yuga Labs Other Side trailer? And okay, so in that trailer, there's like this spaceship, and it has, you know, other NFTs like a mutant, a CryptoPunk, a Meebit, a Cool Cat, a Nouns, and a World of Women NFT. And there was a lot of speculation about that at the time. I don't remember anything kind of being said about that, you know, or if like there was a collab in the works, but I was wondering if you can kind of speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, we're really glad to be, you know, in close orbit of the Yuga ecosystem. I think the first point of connection is Apes and WoW share a manager, which is Guy Osiri, which is, Madonna's longtime manager. And now he has 5 clients. It's U2, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Madonna, Apes, and World of Women. And so, through that, we've had a really lot of great opportunities to intersect with the ecosystem over time. That trailer was awesome. I think a lot of people had intrigue sparked. And then there's a couple of things that, you may have seen over time. Actually, when they did the other side test, you can play as a WoW WowG. They are integrated into the collections that are included. We also, you would have seen WoW announced in the early art for Legends of the Mara coming out of the Yuga ecosystem. So we're super happy to be able to have, some collaborations in the works.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys seem to be really doing a lot in the space, and it's great to see. And it's great to see these projects kind of breaking out of the Web3 space as well, and making it mainstream and collaborating with others. Like, it's not a competition. I think a lot of collectors sometimes are like feeling like it's like a competition. Like, no, my project is going to be number one. And it's like, it doesn't actually matter. Like, I think it's better if we're all kind of working together versus if people are just like, oh, I want my floor price to be higher for my project. Like that's just kind of like, what? Why is that what we're fighting about?
Agree. I think at this stage, it's still so early. I know all of us who are in the NFT space feel like we're 100 years old and we've been doing this forever, but we're like in inning 0. And so I totally agree. I mean, it's why we wanted to have other collections collaborate in Monopoly. And I think when we look at how we expand WoW's brand, it's really much more about how do we get more people who are aligned with WoW's mission and this idea of being the forefront of art, tech, and culture into our community. I mean, I think for us, I think at this point, for those that are really into Web3 and NFTs, most people probably know about WoW or maybe, thought about buying one or missed the mint or, know of us. But there's also a whole generation of people, especially women, that would love to come to the WoW Gala, would love to feel like they have a community around them that supports them, whether it's in their art, like in tech or, just being at the forefront. And so we're thinking a lot more about how we reach out to that audience and bring them into World of Women and lead less with the idea that, our membership card is an NFT and lead more with the fact of this is a community you want to be in, here's how you join. You can buy an NFT to get access, but really you should just be thinking about it as a key that unlocks, an amazing community and unique experiences that money can't buy and, things that you'll remember a lifetime in terms of being at the forefront of this movement. So for us, we're really have our eyes on the prize in terms of that market rather than feeling like we need to be in competition between different collections. Because I think that if any collection, appeals to the mass market successfully, we all win.
So what are some, in a perfect world, what are some dream activations that you would like to see in the World of Women ecosystem? What would you like to see happen?
Oh, such a great question. One of the things that we really love doing at WoW is brand partnerships. We've been really lucky. I think with the market where it is, I think a lot of brands have been very scared off of partnering with the NFT space because they just don't know where crypto is netting out. But because WoW has this broader social mission, I think we've been lucky to continue to sign partnerships throughout the bear market. So we did a really fun one with MasterCard for the Cannes Lion Festival. We sourced an artist from our community that did a live NFT drawing that we sent and minted as an NFT and sent out to everyone who attended a Cannes Lion talk for MasterCard's CMO and CFO. And I think what we really loved about it was, one, we created an unforgettable opportunity for an artist in our community. And then 2, we're connecting with the biggest brands, introducing them to technology and how they can potentially use it. And then giving those NFTs to people who maybe that was their first NFT, getting it at Cannes Lion Festival. And so as we guide our partnerships going forward, I think that the ideal ones really hit this nexus of introducing our brand to a wider audience, and especially if the people that we're partnering with is, mission aligned, like, has a broad audience to offer and getting WoW out there. And then two, creating like a unforgettable exclusive experience for our holders. So one that we did with FC Barcelona, which has been a really amazing partner to WoW. We partnered with them on an NFT auction. We had a artist and member of the WoW community recreate an NFT for the soccer player Alexis Patea. And she basically, that NFT sold for over $300,000 during the bear market last June. And, this is something that would not have been possible for that member of the WoW community, without WoW. And so I think we want to do more things like that. Make sure that the brands we are partnering with are offering something to our community that is completely unforgettable and, bringing WoW to new heights and new audiences.
Love that. It's awesome. Really cool stuff. And the activation is cool. I know you guys learn a lot from Gary Vee. That's his style. He loves the brand. People can say what they want about it, but you are getting shown, like he's doing this Crocs thing right now. So Crocs will send out an email about it and everybody will see it. Whether they buy it or not, a few percent. It's just getting that name out there. We see Luca Nets doing that really well. And that's awesome with partnering with Monopoly. I mean, that's so fun. That must have been fun for you, just like creating it and coming up with the ideas.
Yeah, I agree. Like from a creative level too, I think.
Yeah, that's really neat. That's really
because you get to mix your creative perspective with the brand that you're working with and create something really new. And I think in the spirit of, just innovation, I think it's really fun to approach it this way.
How many people are working at WoW?
We have about 20 people at WoW. We're totally globally remote. A lot of our team right now is focused on product and tech because we have our own internally built patio, which is our digital lifestyle hub. And we see that as being like a key value proposition of why you would buy WoW in the future in terms of being in this global lifestyle community. So we're really focused on building, and our team lives all over the world.
Amazing. The power of the internet.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest things about Web3 too. Like you meet all these people from everywhere, and like Twitter Spaces. I love that's stuff you can everyone just talks and everywhere on the globe, and they can just talk with you. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
we adapt pretty quick to that stuff.
Yeah, or having someone. We saw an example. I mean, someone shared like art that they had made, and then someone printed it on a sticker like all around the world. I think that it's just cool to see how fast we're all connected, even though we're so far apart.
That is really cool. Can we actually, speaking of that, can we circle back to your time at Meta, Facebook a little bit? And
of course,
maybe what you think that what do you think that they're looking at for 5 years? I saw like the Zuckerberg, Lex Friedman thing where they were in the metaverse. That was really cool. Like, what do you expect it to look like?
I think in terms of, what I think is super interesting right now is, especially in Web3 circles, there's this idea that we went from metaverse to Web3 to AI in terms of like tech trends, right? But in terms of AI, like Google, Meta, they have been building their AI capabilities for 10 years. I left Google in 2017. The main conversation that I was having, in my role from a partnerships perspective, I would meet with CMOs and CEOs of companies. And the main topic of conversation was how do you think AI is going to transform your business? Like, are you leaning enough into automation? And are you planning for this over the next 20 years? So the idea that like AI has just popped on the scene, I think is certainly true from like a consumer perspective in terms of some of these tools being really usable from a chat GPT standpoint and, DALL-E and some of these things that are really eye-popping, and I love to see it. But, these big tech companies have been building those capabilities for over a decade. And so I think that is only going to continue and accelerate. And then in terms of AR, VR, I think the big trend that we've always seen is just the internet just becomes more and more immersive as it evolves. And so even though I think some of the headset investments are still far away in terms of, day-to-day using super immersive VR, I think that the Apple's introduction of their AR device is going to be really interesting to see, does that bring that next level of immersiveness? And I think like in my own work at WoW, I see more and more just this mixing of digital world and physical world. And, we're we're more and more bringing elements of the digital world as they become more immersive into how we experience our day-to-day life. And so I think that will just continue. I think it just, requires the hardware to just get less and less clunky. And I think the role that Web3 is playing in terms of building these communities that are worldwide that you can only access online, I think will play a huge role in terms of like, do I even want to be an immersive world, right? Like I only want to be there if I'm building community that's adding value to my life, which is why gaming has been such a huge use case, right? Like when you're playing games online with your friends all over the world, it's like, yes, this is fun. When you're just popping into VR with no one to talk to and nothing to do, it's not meaningful. So I think that all those trends are just going to continue to accelerate. So I definitely see the future where the internet becomes way more immersive. The communities we're building now become, our online community is closest to our heart in terms of what we align with from a value standpoint. And we feel we're able to flex between the digital world and the physical world more seamlessly, because of the work Web3 is doing from a global community building standpoint. And because of the work that big tech is doing to enable, hardware, seamlessness, and global connection.
What do you think it'll look like for us recording this podcast in 5 or 10 years? Are we going to be sitting there with headsets on? Or are we going to be like, are you guys going to be projected into my room? And I'm going to feel like this, we're going to more feel like we're together, right? Like that's kind of the point.
I hope so. My outcome that I'm really hoping for, and there's some devices that are heading this way already. There's a company called Humane that is doing a device where, you clip it onto your body and it records, audio and video. And basically, I think a lot of people are thinking through this problem of like right now we spend so much time just looking at our phone and no one thinks that's a great outcome. I think we want to be connected to our global communities, but we don't want to feel like we're locked into our device. We want it to be more immersive. So what I hope for is, we feel like we can be fully present. Hopefully, the work that Apple's doing on AR glasses, where it's much more seamless, makes it so that you can actually feel connected to your community and not feel like you're just connected to your phone, because I think that is a huge problem right now. I'm old enough to have been at Google when they launched Google Glass. And that was like very much the vision then. That project was way before its time. It was basically like glasses that you would wear that would project vision of the internet. I mean, they were super clunky. There was this whole idea that people would shame you when you were wearing them. They would call you a glass hole. My husband actually left Google went to go to a Google Glass startup, which now sounds very quaint. But I do think that, there is this vision of like, how do we seamlessly integrate our digital life and our physical life? And I don't think that's going to go away. And I think that the role that some of these big companies have to play is, how do we get the hardware that will enable that, so that, we can be fully present and have fun and not be worrying about where it's happening or where our community and loved ones are.
Yeah. Cool. That's good insight. Thank you.
Okay. So I have one last question, and then Michael, I'll see if you have a last question or not. And then we'll head to our Gas Wars segment. But my last question is, what is next for WoW? I mean, I know you guys are working on a lot of things. You've said a lot of things, but maybe kind of put it all into one here.
What's next for WoW is just continuing to expand our brand and continuing to expand our global community. So I think if I look at a perfect next year for WoW, we continue to improve Patio, our community hub, so that it is our hub to connect with other community members, to have, iconic, digital and physical experiences. It's a hub to find out about all of our events all around the world, so that people who buy a WoW and join our community feel completely connected. And we continue to partner with the biggest brands in the world to expand our IP. So more collabs like what we're seeing with Monopoly, that are going to bring World of Women art and mission to new audiences, and, make everyone proud to see their art appearing in new and exciting ways.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
Michael, you got any last thoughts?
Yeah, one little quick. I want to see if you wanted to shout out any community members that are building on the IP, that are using the WoW IP that you think are doing a good job.
Absolutely. I want to give a huge shout out to Sakari. He is a chef that has appeared on a bunch of different cooking shows, but he also has...
I met Sakari in Miami at the other block. I met him at the other block.
Awesome.
Yep.
He has Cyber Green Juice, which is completely branded as a green wow. And his mission is to really educate people about how to build on the IP. So I love that. And I also want to shout out Serene. She's a community member that actually wrote a book about her experience with mental illness and is using her wow on the cover of the book, but also to raise awareness for mental health overall. And I love that there can be such a difference between, seeing your world of women, on a physical good versus on a more artistic and, project that's bringing awareness to social good issues. So shout out to those community members.
Perfect. I love that.
Love that. Yes.
Put you on the spot. I'm glad you had a couple in mind.
Yeah, that was good.
I know. I was like, oh,
She's a quick thinker. She's a quick thinker. Yeah. Okay, so we will now head into our Gas Wars segment, which basically each of us are going to ask 5 rapid fire questions that do not have to do with NFTs and, just to get to know you a little bit better. So,
ooh, I love it. I'm a little nervous.
They're fun. Michael, I'll let you go first this time. I feel like I always go first. So
awesome. What is the best sunset you ever saw?
Ooh. Oh, such a good question. I will say, since I moved to Miami, I don't look towards the sunset. But what is cool about living in Miami is there are people that come out and sit on the dock and watch the sunset. And so when I lived in San Francisco, I lived in San Francisco and I commuted down to the headquarters of Google, and I never saw the sunrise and I never saw the sunset because I was working 14 hours a day and I was riding a bus for 3 to 4 hours a day. And so to live in a place where people actually take time to watch the sunset, I think that's the thing that warms my heart the most.
Nice. That's the best part about the Keys. We love going down into the Keys and sitting on the bay side, eating dinner, right, feet in the sand. It's the best.
Dang, amazing.
Yeah.
What was your first car?
Okay, I'm dating myself. It was called a Datsun. It's a Z car. I don't know how to describe. 280ZX was the model. It looks extremely dated. It's kind of like a sports car that didn't age well, would be how you would describe this car, with a very long front. It had a T-top. My grandfather bought it from a friend, and my grandmother was like, why do we have this? So it became my first car.
Nice. What year was it? Was it just super old?
It was already old. When I got it, it was old. And
they were early 90s, I think.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah,
I remember those.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice. What is your favorite museum?
The MoMA in San Francisco. Because I used to be a member and I used to spend a lot of time there. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
Nice.
What was your first job?
My first job, I worked in an office that sold real estate solution. It was a very B2B business. It was they sold B2B real estate information to companies that were in that industry. The only thing I really remember is general office work, inputting stuff in a database. But the owner of the company, it was named Shannon, was also his name. And so I earned my nickname. They were we're just going to call you Snow, which is my last name. And so since then, whenever I can, I get Snow as an email address. I feel I associate much more with my last name than my first name, because that entire year, they're you have a new name now. Shannon is the founder of our company. You are Snow.
I love that.
Nice. Craziest thing you ever ate?
I think beetles. I think, yeah. Sometimes they do have those roasted beetles.
Yeah. Were you in Southeast Asia or whatever?
Yeah, in Southeast Asia.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because I'm generally a pescatarian. I don't eat a lot of meat, and I feel beetles were really slipping in there in an unknown category. So yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's brave. That's a good one.
Did it taste good? Did you like it?
It was more a crunchy factor. I didn't hate it. I wouldn't order it on purpose, but I was glad I tried.
Something to try. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a writer. I imagined myself living in New York with cats writing the great American novel. I was very much on that end of the spectrum. So I am lucky that I ended up in a career with some creativity. So I think that's the connection.
Well, do you think you'd ever kind of write a book or maybe kind of go back to that?
I think I would be interested in writing a book, but I only read nonfiction. So I want to get enough life experience.
Like a memoir. You could write a memoir.
Or like a book, like a business book that helps people. I feel like I would want to be on the helpful end of the book spectrum. So that would be where I would go.
Nice.
Do a collab with Gary.
Hey.
On his next book.
A lot to learn from him on that. That would be amazing.
No doubt. Who is your favorite stand-up comedian?
Oh, there is a woman right now that I have not seen. But I'm loving right now on Instagram. Do you guys follow the Oh Hot and Single channel?
I do not follow that. I'm not hot or single, so I don't follow that.
There is this woman named Steph, and I would love to see her stand up because she's hilarious. She just does these women on the street interviews with people who are trying to find love. And it's basically like, is the problem you with dating? And so I think it's hilarious. Definitely check it out. But yeah, I definitely want to see her stand up. She seems awesome.
Cool.
What's your astrology sign?
Cancer.
Oh, me too.
Whoa. When is your birthday?
Mine's July 1st.
Oh, I'm the 21st. I'm a little bit on the cusp of Leo, but I definitely associate with Cancer.
Nice. Let's go. That's great.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Salted caramel as a go-to.
Yes, me too. Oh, always.
I like adventure and
caramel's the best thing in the world.
Yes, they just opened a salt and straw.
Thank you.
And I'm very pleased. I love new flavors, but salt and caramel is for sure.
Yeah. The one in Wynwood. When I'm in Wynwood, it's hard not to go to that place.
For sure.
Okay, my last question. What is a book that changed your life?
This is going to sound a little cliche, but I do think the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss was really good from a mindset standpoint. I feel like he really laid the groundwork for the digital nomad lifestyle that a lot of us live now. And I think a lot of his books where he interviews people across disciplines are also really helpful, like Tools of Titans. I mean, I think if like bang for your buck, like most information and value of one book purchase, he really knows how to pack it in.
I got to read that because I have been hearing about that book for years and I've just never read it. But I like reading like those type of books, like personal development. But yeah, 4-Hour Workweek. Okay.
You can now ask ChatGPT to give you the Cliff Notes.
I hate that though. I love reading. Like I love laying out by the pool and like reading a physical book, or on the plane, just like reading a physical book. Like there's just something about that.
Yeah, I started ones like Tools of Titans, the other book by Tim Ferriss where he interviews people. I gave that to my whole team for a couple of years in a row. When I was previously in Silicon Valley, because like having a reference book and being able to just read one interview that's just a couple of pages with someone really inspiring. I think it's nice to just have a little inspiration on your desk.
Yes, 100%. All right, your last question, Michael. Make it count.
No, that was 5.
Oh, was it? Oh yeah, you went first. That's why.
Yeah, I went first. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what do I gotta find?
Phew, I feel like I got off easy. Yeah. Those are really fun.
Yeah, that was great. You did great. Yeah, this has been a really fun interview. I love your energy. Like you seem just like a very happy person, which I love. Like those are my favorite type of people. Energetic, happy people. And you're very intelligent too. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing, your knowledge and what's happening with WoW and the Monopoly board. Yeah, it's been great having you on.
Well, thank you. It's very kind. And I love vibing with you guys. I love the energy of the podcast and all the knowledge that you're bringing to the space. So thanks so much for the opportunity to join you. And hopefully we'll do it again sometime.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yep. All right. Well, with that said, thank you all for tuning into this episode of the NFT Catcher podcast, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.